Trump has a certain instinct for politics that I do not share, that most people do not share. But, you look at his track record and he seems to be right more often than definitely I am. But I think the narrative that he's going for is that she is a phony, that she is a liar, that you see this pattern of her flip-flopping on all these issues, and that there is no core Kamala. And I think that's what he's going for in kind of attacking her identity, is that she's trying to be all things to all people when really there's nothing there, and she is a political phony.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with commentary editor Conn Carroll. Conn, Vice President Kamala Harris is now saying she's going to go on offense on what is the biggest vulnerability for Democrats right now, probably, and that's immigration. She says, stack my record up against Donald Trump's when it comes to the border, and the Examiner did that in an editorial this week. How does her record compare with Donald Trump's?
Not well. I mean, I think what you first have to recognize is that as far left as Biden has been on the border, Kamala is further to the left than that. So Biden is like even the bare minimum of what a bad Kamala would be. So just to give two examples of where Kamala is even further left of Biden. So there was that famous moment on the debate stage in the 2020 primaries, but the debate was in 2019, where they asked who would want to decriminalize border crossings. And Biden was the only one on stage who said he did not want to. That means every other Democrat, including Kamala, wants to decriminalize border crossings, making it legal to cross the border.
Even though he eventually effectively did, right?
Right, but still, it matters because, when you, whether it's a federal crime or not. And so Kamala wants to make it not a federal crime, she wants to make it a civil offense. And then also, Kamala Harris wants to give free government-paid health care to illegal immigrants, and Biden also hasn't gone that far. So Kamala is clearly further to the left of Biden on the border. But then when you look at Biden's border record, it's just terrible. You look at the levels of illegal immigration. Illegal immigration, the total number of illegal immigrants in the country actually fell under President Trump. It has gone up 4 million. We've had 4 million more illegal immigrants come into the country under Biden's regime. And this is all because of just the massive border crossings we've seen on the southwestern border. So from the numbers, for Trump's full 2 years in office, it was about 2.5 million people arrested on the southern border. We are not through all of Biden's 4 years. It has already surpassed 8 million. So it's just, more than 3 times the number caught by Biden on the border. The problem being that he catches them,
right.
But instead of either detaining them or sending them back to Mexico, he releases them into the country. And so that's why you've seen the huge 4 million spike in illegal immigration. And of course, the problem with that is that communities across the country, Democratic communities, Denver, Chicago, New York City, Washington, D.C., are just drowning in this flood of illegal immigrants because they don't have the money to pay for their food, their housing, their health care, their education. And so that's why immigration has become the biggest issue in the election, and Biden's record is just terrible. And of course, you can just look at the numbers. Trump's record is just infinitely better.
Immigration is not the only issue that Kamala Harris is flip-flopping on. We've seen her retreat from a lot of the positions that she ran for president on in 2019, that she held as a senator. Where else are we seeing her reverse her stances?
Sure. So the very earliest one was someone asked about fracking, because fracking is a huge issue in Pennsylvania, which is going to be one of the key swing states. And Dave McCormick, the senator there, got an ad up on fracking right away. Not Kamala herself, but a campaign official said no. She's now changed her mind. She's flip-flopped. She's now against fracking. Since then, other journalists have asked her about other issues. She's also flip-flopped on mandatory gun buybacks. So she still wants to say you can't buy AR-15s for gun, but she's not going to forcibly have the government steal them from you, which I guess is a step in the right direction.
Right.
Flip-flop.
For now, I guess that's her position.
Right. And then she also once was in favor of Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All, which would ban all private health insurance. She's now flip-flopped on that as well, and now she says no, she's just in favor of expanding the Affordable Care Act.
And this week, Trump had a rather contentious appearance at the National Association of Black Journalists. He got in the most hot water for talking about what he perceived as the evolution of how Kamala Harris presented her racial identity to the public. A really unhelpful thing for him to say, I think, is the consensus among Republicans and Democrats. Is there, though, a potential productive path for Republicans to go down, not talking about her racial identity, but potentially portraying her as someone with no identity? I mean, can we expect more of those kind of attacks?
I think you will. I mean, look, Trump has a certain instinct for politics that I do not share, that most people do not share. But, you look at his track record and he seems to be right more often than definitely I am. But I think the narrative that he's going for is that she is a phony, that she is a liar, that you see this pattern of her flip-flopping on all these issues, and that there is no core Kamala. And I think that's what he's going for in kind of attacking her identity, is that she's trying to be all things to all people when really there's nothing there, and she is a political phony. And calling other people political phonies has been a real strength of Trump's throughout, just because through his brand and his confidence in his persona, love him or hate him, and there's a lot of love or hate on both sides, people don't think Trump's a phony. Trump is Trump. He's going to be Trump. And he's just trying to point out that, look, Kamala's trying to be all things to all people. She's changed his position on everything but abortion. And, she's slippery on her identity issues as well. We'll see if it pans out. I don't know. But it should be a fascinating election.
Well, Conn, thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely.
You can get more reporting from Conn and the rest of the commentary team at washingtonexaminer.com.